This YouTube channel has a Discord server. If you want to go further down the rabbit hole and chat with various weird, wonderful, and interesting people about personality types and much more, then feel free to join us there. The link for it is down below. 16 personalities, fears in relationships. ESTPs, after the thrill is gone. The situation in which you meet someone can sometimes be the main factor that binds you together. When things are exhilarating, it's easy to think that it's the person who's evoking those feelings. When you're out of that situation though, something essential might be missing. You realize you were who you were because of when and where you were. ESTPs can find themselves in these situations and these relationships. As they bounce through life, from one fun adventure to the next, the people they encounter during those times might be the ones they attach to or get into a relationship with. If they meet someone while they're students, or while they're travelling, or in a particular career or job, there's no guarantee in their mind that living with that person will feel the same way. ESTPs will be worried that the thrill they initially had with a person won't last, especially if there are lifestyle changes that come with that relationship. ISTPs, forced emotionality. Relationships, if they are truly close and intimate, inevitably bring up deep emotions, sometimes ones that are well buried. ISTPs don't necessarily mind this, but they do fear being stuck in situations in which emotionality is regularly expected, or the absence of which is seen as bad in some way. ISTPs need to feel confident that they're able to keep that even keel, to not be influenced by the presence of disruptively strong emotions, especially their own, with high frequency. Any partner that shows the possibility of drama is not going to last long. Similarly, anyone who pulls on the heartstrings isn't going to be pulling ISTPs. ENFJs, diminishing emotional returns. ENFJs are finely attuned to the emotional climates around them. They strive to foster deep emotional connections. Being in a relationship where they cannot resonate with their partner's feelings, or, worse, when their own emotions and concerns are constantly misunderstood or dismissed, is hell. They particularly dread the feeling of emotionally drifting apart, like two ships sailing on increasingly different seas. ENFJs are passionate people who have an immense lust for life and live with a certain intensity. They fear that the emotional fire and fun that comes from connecting with a person will fade over time, and each investment of time, effort, and emotional energy will result in diminishing returns. INFJs, lack of purpose. INFJs don't want to find themselves in a directionless relationship. They thrive on a sense of purpose. If the relationship doesn't give them a sense of meaning, there's going to be a problem. If their partner is a bit wishy-washy about what they want and what matters to them, it's going to be difficult for the INFJ to orient themselves. INFJs like to know what people want, then they can give it to them or help them get there. They are sort of wired in this way. It's not an issue if the INFJ needs to be the one providing the sense of direction, but if that's the case, they'll need someone who's on board with them and a committed teammate. Being stuck in a relationship that isn't going anywhere is something they fear, not least because they can end up wasting a lot of time and effort trying to force some purpose into it. ENTPs, post-honeymoon dullness. A new person is fresh, full of mysteries, and ripe for interrogatory questioning. Elucidating their beliefs, testing those beliefs, finding their buttons and pushing them, teasing out their secrets, or, well, just teasing them too. There's so many possibilities at that point. Things are pregnant, sometimes literally. But, in simple terms, ENTPs fear that they'll get bored, either by the person or by the relationship itself. It's not easy to keep that spark alive, and in those moments of mundanity and dullness, ENTPs might struggle. One of the best ways to keep an ENTP in a relationship is to not let them know that they're in one. I'll let you debate the ethics of that. INTPs, being encroached upon. One simple and consistent feature of the INTP type is a desire for privacy and personal space. They want sovereignty over their own room, or cave, or whatever their place is. The ever-present anxiety about someone barging in, interrupting their flow, and taking up their energy would be unbearable. They are people who need time and space to feel like themselves, and actually make inroads into topics and hobbies that grab them. I've mentioned before that one of the worst things that can happen for an INTP is to fall into a relationship and get stuck in one. That inertia and stagnation can be deeply damaging to them. Before an INTP considers living with someone, they should be as sure as possible that their partner will respect this need of theirs for distance sometimes. It isn't just a physical need, it's a psychological one too. ESFJs, appreciation vacuum. The archetype of the ESFJ is one of nurturers and caregivers. In my experience, although it misses much of them, this does fit. They thrive on being the rock for others, often prioritizing their partner's needs and ensuring that good spirits reign. Their fear, though, is that all their efforts will go unappreciated or even unnoticed. They don't necessarily need grand gestures of gratitude, but consistent acknowledgement of their contributions is essential. A simple words of affirmation moment, here and there, makes a massive difference. The thought of being taken for granted, despite their unwavering commitment, can be a shadow over their relationship. ISFJs, erased footprints. For ISFJs, shared experiences, memories, successes, failures, moments of triumph and tragedy is all part of the story they have with someone they care about. They fear that other people, in this case their partner, won't fully appreciate this or won't even remember it that well. If ISFJs could have their way, I think they'd play a TV series-esque previously on just to rejig people's memories. They want to know that what they've done, overcome, and achieved in a relationship isn't something that gets easily washed away in the sands of time. It matters to them, and they want it to matter to their partner too. It's a fear for them that a person might not see it the same way. ENTJs, low ceilings. Regardless of whether a particular ENTJ is ambitious or not, all ENTJs go for what they want, and tend to want lots of different things. If they feel like their partner or relationship is something that will impose a ceiling on what's possible for them, they'll hate it. They will always want the freedom and control to pursue the things they want to do. In their view, a barometer for a healthy and strong relationship is that it enables both parties to better go after their desires and goals, not get in the way of them. Of course, yes, there are some compromises, but they never want to lose sight of constructing a relationship to be a catalyst for the people involved. They fear being limited or living under an artificially imposed ceiling. INTJs, head versus heart. I know. Surely there's only one winner here when INTJs are concerned. Well, not always. INTJs are entirely capable of pragmatism when it comes to choosing a partner. They can have their checkboxes and easily filter out the people who don't meet their standards. But underneath that cold calculation, there is a fire, a passionate and, dare I say, impulsive nature too. That part of them might be attracted to people who they know for a fact aren't the most, prudent choices, let's say. INTJs are also the types who could have their own life so well put together and mapped out that they can even afford to indulge in some ill-advised romances from time to time without it derailing things. I think INTJs fear their own desire in this area and the conflict or dilemma that can bring. ISFPs, being deceived. No one likes being deceived, but for ISFPs, it's essential for them to understand precisely what they're getting from the other person, for them to be real, upfront, and honest. When they know what, or who they want, they prefer to jump in. This can make them blind to any ulterior motives a person might have, or games they might be playing. It's great to feel sure about a person, and that's the feeling they want. But many ISFPs will experience being burned by jumping into something that felt right, only to realize that there were other unpleasant things happening that they hadn't noticed or accounted for. This will always be a fear for them. ESFPs, being reined in. ESFPs are wild at heart, and in every other organ of their body. They don't mind being on their best behaviour when the occasion calls for it, or even learning to not misbehave too often, but the prospect of being tamed is unacceptable. They benefit from having partners who have their stuff together, but they don't want to be stifled. More than this, they definitely don't want to be judged for who they are either. ESFPs believe in living on impulse in many situations, simply going with what feels right and seeing that as authenticity in action. When someone comes down harshly on them for this, they will feel like their whole way of being is called into question. ICJs, unable to settle. I'm an advocate for the notion that leaving your comfort zone is great for growth, but creating from within your comfort zone is very powerful. You can tailor everything there to be as seamless and efficient as possible. It's a frictionless approach. Whereas some people might prefer to never put down roots in a place, usually ISTJs are the opposite way. They are builders of a fashion. They want to create a base, a home, a life of their own specifications, and precise calibration. If they are with someone who isn't willing to invest in this process of building, it's off-putting. They fear that being in a relationship introduces the chaos of another human who might, on a whim, decide they want to change something major, when the ISTJ had been working towards perfecting that aspect of both their lives. ESTJs, what do you want? ESTJs, despite being in charge sorts of people, are also givers who love to support the people close to them, and people in general. They're always looking for things to do, ways to channel their immense energy. Having a partner who doesn't know what they want is a worry for them. It means they won't know how to help them, how to contribute to their life. They also have quite a dislike for indecisiveness too. It's an off-putting trait to them. They are happy to move heaven and earth in service of their relationship, but they need to be able to coordinate their actions with their partner. Their relationship needs to be cohesive and well-structured. They fear being stuck in a relationship where they can't give things of worth because their partner doesn't know what they want. ENFPs, not being able to grow and change. A relationship is, in large part, about stability, structure, and security. But for ENFPs, it should also be a safe place in which they can grow. This is what they expect as well. They will deeply fear the prospect of their partner becoming someone who will eventually start to say no to new experiences, new ideas, new ways of living, that their partner will become stuck in their ways. This is quite the dilemma for ENFPs, because firstly, they are all too aware that people can start off matching their lust for reinvention, but that most people can't sustain it like they can over the long term. And secondly, they actually benefit from having partners who are stable and consistent. It's quite the delicate dance. INFPs, identity, submersion. For INFPs, the idea of submerging their identity in a relationship where they can't differentiate between their genuine self and the expectations of their partner is deeply unsettling. On the one hand, they fear the slow erosion of their unique self, where compromises and adjustments for their partner might gradually make them a stranger to themselves. On the other, there's the dread of being confined, caged by societal norms or a partner's design, stifling their spirit and forcing them to forsake their core values. For an INFP, a relationship should be a space of mutual authenticity, where both can flourish without losing sight of who they truly are. According to stats, 300% of the people watching, or something, have not subscribed. Please help me restore balance to the universe and subscribe. Also, if you do that, then join the Love Who Discord server. I will personally give you money or something.